Good evening. My name is Beth Carrie, and it has been my honor and privilege to serve my second year as the president of the board of directors for the South Carolina National Safety Council. On behalf of my board members and the employees of the National Safety Council, I'd like to welcome each and every one of you to the 8th Annual Alive at 25 Coalition Benefit Dinner and the Harold Ray Silent Auction. If it were not for relationships with everyone in this room, our message would not be able to go out in the community. It is because of friendships and associations with each and every member in this room, whether it be volunteering or whether it be financial support, you enable us to send our brand out to the community. And it is most important because one life lost is one too many. And without your support and without your friendships and without your partnerships, we would not be able to be the successful unit that we have become. So on behalf of everyone here, we welcome you. We hope you enjoy this evening. I hope it's a learning experience for you, but I can guarantee you that it will be one night you will never forget. I'd like to introduce Tracy Wolf, our Director of Operations.
Welcome, everyone. I am so excited that you are here. Many of you may recognize me. I can honestly say that you are 500 of my closest friends because if you were here last year, I'm the P lady, if you remember. So that would be me, and yes, thank you, Brooke Russell. I have been labeled as the P lady, and yes, she does introduce me that way. So it is my privilege to stand up here and welcome you guys. Thank you so much, not only from my family, but from the families here. We are so honored that you have taken your time to come and join us tonight. I have the wonderful pleasure of introducing our mistress of ceremonies. Many of you may recognize her because you have woken up with her every morning years before. Miss Cara Graves.
Hello, everybody. For those of you who've been to Alive at 25, this award ceremony for a number of years, it's great to be back. And for those of you who are new, it's nice to meet you. My name is Cara Graves. I used to work at a local television station. And I do not know Tracy as that name that she is called from last year. I unfortunately missed, and apparently missed a lot. I know her as a wonderful mom who has found a new career doing something that she's actually changing lives. So it's so nice to meet you, Tracy, and it's great to be here tonight. As I mentioned, used to work for a local television station, and I've been out of it for about 4 years. And a lot of folks will still come up to me even now and say, do you miss the television life? Do you miss being on television? And I will say, I really don't miss getting up at 2:30 a.m. because I used to do the morning show in addition to some reporting. So I don't miss those early morning hours. And then I will think a little bit further. I'm like, I really don't miss working on every holiday and on every weekend. So that's also a plus. And for those of you who live in the Midlands, you'll understand that now I don't have to listen to my former boss's perspective every week. So it's not necessarily a bad thing being out of the media. But what I do miss, and in all sincerity, what I do miss, and I still do some freelance writing, is meeting folks like you and getting the opportunity to tell your stories. Over my career, and it was over 15 years, and unfortunately the lines and the sags and the wrinkles show it, but over 15 years, I have been honored to meet folks in law enforcement, and for the emergency responders, and for the parents who both have happy endings, and for some that don't have happy endings but are brave enough to tell their stories. And I can honestly say that while it's so difficult for folks who have experienced the unthinkable to come out and tell their stories, that I have seen the other side of it as a reporter, the difference that those stories make, telling those stories to the masses, that the folks who've experienced it all, and many of you are here tonight, whether you are one of the first responders, whether you are that trooper that held the hand of a family member as they sat there praying and hoping that their family was going to be okay, or whether you're a family who's lost somebody, your stories and you having the tenacity and the will to tell those stories have affected people in ways that we will never know. Somebody watching television in Dalzell, or somebody looking in Pelion that heard you talking that night, that morning. And because of that, they were able to go on with their life. They were able to make a positive change. They were able to make a difference. And that's what this program is all about. And that's what you all are all about. And that's why I'm very excited to be here tonight. I have to tell you, it's an honor, and I have some butterflies in the stomach, because I do know the story of the folks that we've dedicated this evening to, the Shoemate family. I'm very familiar with their story, and this story of forgiveness and faith is one that I am excited to hear firsthand, and we're going to hear much more from them in the evening ahead. But we are going to get started tonight, and as I don't know, I think it may have been a Clinton that said it takes a village. Well, that's kind of how our program works. It takes a village, and with that being said, buckle up, because we got a lot of villagers to thank tonight and to acknowledge. So we want to get it started. And with that being said, some of the honored guests we have this evening that we want to, if you don't mind, I think salads have been served, and please do get started, but we'd love you to stand up when I call your name and remain standing until I get this first list done, and just take that a round of applause. It is so sincere. Starting tonight with Lexington Clerk of Court Beth Carrie, also Inspector General Carl McClary, South Carolina DOT Secretary Janet Oakley, Comptroller General Richard Ekstrom, Highway Safety Director Phil Riley, Colonel Leroy Taylor with the South Carolina Transport Police and Team, Lieutenant Colonel Christopher Williams with the South Carolina Highway Patrol, also Chief Chris Garner with the Pelion Police Department, Chief Mark Falah with North Police Department, Chief Randy Blackman with Columbia Metro Airport, Chief Josh Schumpert with South Congaree Police Department, Chief Keith Tucker, Inman Police Department, Chief Tommy Amick with the Irmo Fire Department, Chief Travis Caricato with the Columbia Fire Department, Chief Matthew Clancy with the Beaufort Police Department, Sheriff Steve Muller with the Cherokee County Sheriff's Office, Deputy Chief Carl Anderson with the Anderson County Sheriff's Office, Major Jay Kuhn, Lexington County Sheriff's Office, Coroner Gary Watts, Richland County, Coroner Timothy Carlton with Aiken County, Deputy Coroner Jeff Fowler, Greenville County, Superintendent, and I've said this name before, and I hope I get it right again, Vashti, is it Vashti, Washington? Am I saying that right? I hope so. I hope you can correct me if I'm not. Also, Superintendent Vernon Prosser, Dr. William Fleming, Richland 2 School Board, Dr. Michael Kitaro with George County School District, Principal Joel Mitchell, Williston Elko High School, Principal Jacob Smith with River Bluff High School, Dr. Sherry Walters, Lexington High School, Tina Snow, who's a PTI director in the 14th Circuit, Shannon Horton, also with the 14th Circuit, Mia and team, the PTI director in the 5th Circuit, Connie Garner and Leanne Lunsford, the 11th Circuit, Tiffany Boyce Heitzman, the Greater Irmo Chamber, and Tim James with the Lexington Medical Center Foundation. If you can all remain standing. This is just the first round of folks that we need to thank. This is truly a team effort, and without your support, this program would not be so successful. So thank you. Sit down and enjoy your salads, and we appreciate your time and your service. I don't know if you've heard the latest statistics, but Alive at 25 started in 2007, and since that time, there's been and get this, a 47% reduction in teen fatalities over those years. It's incredible. So 8 years, almost 50%. And again, I'm kind of an early member of this program. just seeing where you all have come is truly amazing. Also, did you all get those green bracelets when you came in? If you could, we would love for you to put them on, because at least for this evening, those bracelets are so special to us. I have been getting reacquainted with some of the families I met when I first started helping out with the Alive at 25 program. Those green bracelets have the names of the families who've been honored and whose loved ones have been memorialized. And some of the pictures here you can see in the front. If you get a chance, you should really come up and take a look if you haven't seen these beautiful family members. But we want to recognize those families, and we've done so through those green bracelets. And the names that you see there represent real folks, and we'd love those folks to stand and take a break for a second when I call your names so we can give you a nice round of applause and thank you for your commitment and your strength to continually be here. The Preston Davies families, if you don't mind standing, and if you would remain standing for a second. Kim and Chris and Rick and Miranda, just awesome folks there. Donald Schwartz's family, if you don't mind standing and remain standing for a second. Victoria Humphrey's family. Josh Bryan's family. Also Byron Martin Jr., the family there. Lacey Dials' family. Kenny Wolf Jr.'s family. And also the Gabriella, or as we know her, Ella Shoemate's family, and we'll hear much more from them tonight. If you could stand, and if we could all give these folks a round of applause. These are the real people behind those beautiful green bracelets, and your loved ones will never be forgotten, and we appreciate you being here tonight. Thank you all. Appreciate it. You're going to be hearing a lot of stories this evening. And for those of you who, again, have been here for a while, you've heard this story, so I'll give you a quick Reader's Digest version. For those of you whose story this is new to, you will know that I'm a very faithful person, so God touched me in a very special way one night when I was here emceeing Alive at 25. I think it was my second year, or maybe third year, doing this event, and, I don't know, I was pregnant for like 7 years straight. That's what it seemed like. We had rapid succession little sons, and the third one was more of God's plan than mine, if you know what I'm saying. But anyway, Brooke said, Carrie, you got to help us out. And, I was big as a house, and I just didn't think I was going to be able to do it. And if anybody knows Brooke, she's very persuasive. So I came with my big old belly, and I was still doing the morning show, so I'd have to get up at 2:30 in the morning. And so I decided to stay in downtown Columbia. And I do believe it was the year that we heard Preston Davies stories, and you sit here and you listen to these stories, and it's so emotional, and you think, wow, I don't think I could ever go through what some of you folks who've been here tonight have been through. And you feel like you can really get that sense of what other folks are going through their stories. Well, what I did not know when I was emceeing that evening with my big old belly is at that very moment, my father was hit head on by a 18-year-old male who had been partying all evening. And what I did not know, because my husband was with me, that a voicemail was at my house that we missed, that he was in a coma in a medical center in upstate New York. And so I got up at 2:30 in the morning and I went to work, and I got off at 7 a.m. And Calvin, if you don't mind, this is actually a picture of my dad being airlifted. My dad was on the news in upstate New York. Those stinking reporters got a picture of my dad and put it on the news, and he was being airlifted. And at 7 in the morning, my husband calls frantically. We missed a call from my brother. My dad's been in this horrible accident. And I was here at Alive at 25, and I felt the Schwartz story, and I felt the Megan Preston story, and all of a sudden it hit my family, and holy smokes, it hit hard. And my husband helped me catch the first flight out of Columbia. My dad was in a coma for more than a week, and doctors had written him off. He was 70 years old when it happened, and it just didn't look good. And I have some pictures of the car, but I won't put you through that tonight. So that's my dad being airlifted, but I'm one of the lucky ones, because this is my dad now, and he's lived to see the birth of 5 grandchildren. Yeah, after that night, a week into it, he was on a ventilator and he just popped back in and he pulled his ventilator out. And unfortunately, my mom had passed away from cancer just a little while before this happened. And so I said to my dad when he popped back in, I said, "Dad, how you doing? Did you see Mom?" And he goes, "Thank God, no, not yet." He loves her, but he still wanted to be here, and you can see why. He has plenty to live for. So I do have a very happy ending. And we sit here and we have a lot of families around us that don't have that happy ending. But it's hard to count all of the happy endings that you all have been involved in. I can't tell you how many times I've been on an accident scene or a memorial where law enforcement has been out there and first responders, and it's very hard to measure those folks who made it. And there are so many. We talk about this 47% drop in fatalities for teens, but I think that number is much higher because of everything that you all do and because of being able to work together as a team. So thank you from my family personally, and I know that a lot of other families have had close calls or the call, and we so appreciate the team effort of everybody here. We want to, before you completely start your dinner this evening, acknowledge the South Carolina National Safety Council's Board of Directors. If you don't mind real quick standing before we start our dinner. We've got, of course, Brooke and Wendy, Melissa, Dana, Mickey, Kathy, Ellen, Stacy, Carmen, Tracy, and Calvin. And Calvin. And we appreciate all that you do. I'm sure you all know Tracy's story because you were here yesterday. I did not know it, but her son is pictured over here on this board. And she was in another occupation completely. And, she experienced and her family experienced a terrible tragedy. But now she's got a new career path and she's been pointed in a different direction. And she's here. And if you're on Facebook, I saw her miking up things and running cables today. I mean, this is one committed member right here. So thank you so much, Tracy. We appreciate it. And Calvin, I just want you to stand up because this man deals with so much estrogen that you just deserve an extra amount of applause. I mean, that wonderful smile, for any of you that work with a lot of females, you know it. Just smile no matter what. Okay, yeah, all right. Okay, good, we're all good. Thank you so much for your service. Folks, I hope I can get your attention one more time. If you could take a seat. I want to introduce you to a family that I can guarantee once you hear from them and hear their story, it will touch your life in a way that you've never expected. This family is so incredible. I'm just honored to be here to introduce you to them all. So tonight's event is about the Shoemate family and Caitlin Braun, and in memory, we say, of Ella Shoemate. This family on May 11th of 2011 experienced something that hopefully most folks here will never have to go through. But they have done it with such aplomb and faithfulness and forgiveness that they have been touching lives with their story around our state. And when you see this video, to get a little bit of background of what they've been through, you'll understand why. Take a look.